Hello, fellow teachers. Welcome back to Jen's Teacher Corner. Just wanted to do a quick little video on how you can use SpeedGrader to make your life easy, and then also how to comment and leave information that parents may want to see. These tips that I give you are things that have helped me through the years, and my parent contact regarding grades is generally pretty minimal because of the way that I go about giving comments or giving feedback on tests or quizzes. So what I'm going to do is I'm in my Spanish 3 class right now, and I'm going to go over to a vocab quiz that we just had, and I'm going to show you how I go and use the SpeedGrader with this vocab quiz. I'm going to pause the video just to make sure that I don't show any student information. All right, so we just took this quiz in class, and I did a video regarding quizzes and question banks earlier. This quiz comes from a question bank, and then I have a few free responses that I did. So you'll see, you can see that it took the student 35 minutes to do this quiz, and this is what the score looks like right now. Now I do have to review some of the questions, and you can either click to go straight to the question that you have to review, or what I like to do is I just kind of like to scroll down and make sure that we didn't miss anything terribly off, or make sure that any questions weren't misspelled or things like that. So we'll just scroll on down, and you can see what they got correct, what they got incorrect, and then we can keep on going. If you want to go and give points back for a question, so this question is a question that a lot of students, when it pulled into their questions for the quiz, a lot of them missed it because they didn't understand the difference between cuidado and cuidadoso. So what I'm going to do for this one is I am going to give points back for that. And you just highlight that and you put whatever points you want to give back. This question was worth 2 points, and you just give those points back. So let's scrolling down. I like doing it this way because on the off chance that I'm starting to notice a lot of students miss the wrong question, that tells me I need to go back and clarify for them. So let's keep on cruising. We'll scroll all the way down. I think this student did pretty well. And then again, you can go back through your questions and make sure that there wasn't anything that was confusing to them that you don't have to give credit back for. So this is pretty good. Everything's checking out with the exception of that one question. Okay, so this section is the section that I have to grade. This is a free response section in which I give my students instructions on what they're supposed to do. And then in this case, they had a word bank that they had to pull from, and they had to write a definition in Spanish, and then they had to write a sentence using the definition. And what I like to do is you can give the student whatever credit you want. Let's say I'm going to give her full credit for this. And then if there are errors or something that you need them to know about for the specific question, I just like to type the comments in this section so that my students are aware of feedback that they need. This particular student needs to work on a couple of things. The sentence that she's given me is not quite what I would look for. So I'll give her some feedback here in how to use this particular phrase or this particular word. And looks like also she didn't really follow the instructions that I said, write a sentence. So I would actually give her, I think, about 2 points for that, since she only did half of what was required. So here's another one where she did the same thing. And when students are doing the same thing over and over again, instead of doing the comment per question, I just put a comment under the assignment comments. So it looks like with this particular student, she did pretty well on the descriptions of what she wanted to do. So over here on the right-hand side, I'm going to give her a comment under this particular assignment. For example, I'll just go ahead and pause the video and I'll type my comment out. Okay, so what I've done here is I went ahead and added specific feedback on the questions because there were some little errors that we needed to do here and fix. And I like it that you can give specific feedback per question, or you can give a general assignment feedback. And what I did here was I just said to make sure to read the instructions. And That's pretty much it. So what you can do down here at the bottom, you'll see for all the points that you've given. Now this student is going to have a 44 out of 60 points. And what I did for this class, because it was their first quiz with me, and I understand how that can be, is I was a little bit more lenient and I decided to give a 2-point curve. So down here in this box, you can actually hit 2, and then you can fudge the points if you're wanting to give a few extra points for extra credit or what have you. Now, I don't do this for every assignment, but it's the first quiz and I understand. Now, what you'll need to do after you have all this done is the first thing I usually do is I update the score. And I may have to pause the video because if it does show the student's information, I want to make sure that I get rid of that. So I'm going to update the score. Okay, we're good. And you'll see over here you have got the score has been changed. And then the next thing I'll do is I will submit my assignment comment. And once I do that, I may also have to pause the video just in case it shows student information. And it did not, so that's good. And so these comments will appear in the gradebook. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and take you over into the gradebook to show you something that I do for students that have failed a quiz or a test. This will make your life a lot easier. So let's just go ahead and go over to the gradebook so you can see. I may go ahead and get out of this class and go into a class where I know a student has failed an assessment. Okay, I'm hoping that the quality of the video isn't too bad. I did have to make my recording screen smaller so that I could protect student data. So or student names, I should say. So here's what your gradebook will look like. And as I mentioned in another video, we're on a point system this year. So you can click the assignment and it'll take you to the assignment. You can see all kinds of little things. For example, this particular assignment, it was actually turned in late, and so there's usually a late penalty that I assign to late assignments, but I haven't quite figured out how to fix the default. So I'll continue to look up information and find it. But you can also see a bunch of information here that the parents will see in the gradebook. They can see whatever comments that I've given regarding the grade that they've got. So let's go ahead and close that out. And we're going to go over into the quiz that I gave in this class. And you'll see a lot of teachers ask how to get the grade totals right next to the student's name. Technically, the student's name is to the left. You just can't see that here on how I've protected my screen. And all you do is your little 3 dots, you just can either move it to the end or move it to the beginning. And I like to keep it at the beginning because I like to see exactly where my students are. Now, this student in particular was failing because they did not do well in a quiz. And at the time, they were failing the course, but it looks like their grade has gotten up a little bit, and so they're not quite failing anymore. But I want to show you what that looks like. For this particular student on the quiz, they got a 33 out of a 60. And usually in the parent gradebook, they'll be able to see a little link that shows them, and I'll try to show you in a minute what that looks like. But over here, I can go ahead and you'll see the comment that I posted there. And I try to post these comments for anything that is a failing grade in my course, so that way students and parents understand what's going on there, and there's no question. This right here has been an absolute lifesaver. If you are a new teacher, I strongly recommend that you utilize the comment section of the gradebook, so that way it will minimize the extra that you'll have to deal with in talking to parents and students. So I want to show you kind of what that looks like on a student aspect here. I think I will have to view it as a student. So hold 1 second and I'll do that. So I've gone into the student view of Canvas and I'm going to be looking at the grades for my test students. This is not a real student. But this is what parents and students should see on their end. So on the left-hand side, you've got grades. If we click grades, you'll be able to see the assignments that have been turned in, if anything is missing, if anything was late. it'll show up right there. Um, for the sake of what they're going to see when they see a failing grade, they will see the grade, what it was out of, and then this little call out box is where you will see my comment, and then the student and parent will see that. So that's a very good way to minimize extra conversations that you have to have for something that you could have just put out there. I have a Word document that I've created that has this pretty much this generic comment. I do this for tests, I do this for quizzes, grammar, assignments, what have you. And then once a student starts failing the course, I do put that out there, as you saw in the other student a little while ago. So I hope this video helps you in how to utilize SpeedGrader and then how to utilize comments in your gradebook.